So if you could just kind of tell the story before you got follow-up, and then what happened after you got follow-up, and that's really it.
Basically, about 3 or 4 years ago, we were having trouble with the amount of leads we were getting. And when they came in, using an Excel spreadsheet, using the Word documents we had listed, how they did, and how I used to follow up with people is that a week or two after I would have an appointment with them, I would just go through my Google Calendar, find the people I have, and then follow up with them. I never really set any expectations. I never set any guidelines up with them. It was just basically, here's our price. I'll talk to you here in a couple of weeks and let you, we'll follow up. A lot of times, sometimes that would work. A lot of times it wouldn't. There was no real process on how we were able to bid or track stuff. And then they would be hand entered for lead type, what type they were, into an Excel spreadsheet, which was just hundreds and hundreds listed until, you want to go find a keyword to go find that person. Well, we have another sales guy join the team, and we found out real quick that he was not able to fit into that system. He was a real good salesman. That didn't work for him. So we needed to find something that was a little more processed, a little more structured, so we could track leads and actually, follow up with these customers, because again, without them, we don't have anything. So we looked at a couple different ones as well and ended up settling on Follow-Up Power. A lot of the things we were looking for, they answered very specifically for roofing as well, and being able to track the leads and set it up. Having that interface set up how we wanted it helped immensely. And then actually just the people on the back end that were willing to help us and come in and, teach us how to use it. We were sold on all that. So we integrated that. I want to say it was coming up on almost like 4 years from now, maybe 3.5 years. And for the first 6 to 8 months, we didn't really use it. We would sit down in a sales meeting, and the sales meetings weren't really structured. It was just kind of going over some of the big stuff. And, hey, do you have any questions? If you have any questions, let me know. We could do it. And I wasn't really the service or sales manager at the time. I was involved in the process, but nothing that I was managing or directing it. So when we got this, it was like, hey, do you have all your information in there yet? No. Well, then I can't do anything. The information is not put into follow-up. You have to put it in. And slowly over the course of time, I started to take over the management position of it. And we did. I really started to get into, making sure everything was in there, your dates, your follow-ups, asking you, scrubbing the pipeline, as you would say. It's a common term in our culture now, sales-wise, which until follow-up CRM, I never had even talked about or anything, but it's now an everyday thing, or it's listed on stuff. We talk about it. We scrub the pipeline. We clean it. We figure it out. And it became part of our culture. It's now the sales guys knowing that I'm going to stalk them in Follow-Up Power and look at stuff and look at their leads and look at everything and see where we're at and their closing percentage and talk about it. It's an open door now. It's common knowledge. We talk about it. Everybody shares it. It's transparency. This morning we had a sales meeting, and one of the guys was a little behind this month in numbers, and having all that up there on the board, 3 or 4 other sales guys, we're like, well, hey, I've got this and this. I can close this month, and we're going to be able to keep this, and we'll bridge that gap until next month. And it's real nice. It really played into our team, kind of our team atmosphere now, where everybody's helping everybody. And it's real good, because we can talk about customers. We can track them much better. I can go back and look at a customer from 2 years ago and see the process on what we bid, how much we did. Look, this is the 7th time we've given this guy a quote. Like, we're not getting anything from them. What's the reason why? I can go and look at notes. If there's nothing there, what is the next follow-up for this guy? And that process happens. And having this now and using this religiously in our sales training, our sales meetings, our close-ups, our closings, everything, we really value the no now way more than we used to. We used to think no was a negative around here, like, no, you can't, you didn't get the job. You're too high, you were this and that, your schedule didn't fit our schedule, whatever the reason is. But we used to have so many unknowns that they were like really clogging up our system. Well, now that we have deadlines of no's or yeses, those no's, done. Okay, cool. We appreciate the opportunity, and we go on, because there's so many other yeses in our list. Now having Follow-Up Power, being able to track that and know who our customers are, and who's a good customer versus who's a potential and who's really going to be a waste of time, it has helped streamline our process. So, for example, this year, well, let's say in 2016 or so when we got this, I think we had sold somewhere around the lines of $2.2 million for the year, and I got to go back and look. I don't really remember the numbers offhand. But this year we will sell over 8 million. And in terms of us, having a 9-month company, being able to do work in 9 months and sell it all in 9 months, it does kind of hamstring a little bit, but we will eclipse 9 million in sales, and we are outselling our production by a lot, and almost to a detriment to a point because we can't get to it. And our sales guys are really, really good at the process. They follow up. I hear the calls, I hear the questions, I hear the stuff that's in follow power that we've made as part of the process. And I can go back and I can say, I can hear a sales guy in the other room talking to somebody, a name, I can look it up and I can know the whole lineage of what happened. And we value the no now almost as much as the yes. We need the yeses, obviously, because that's what builds a business, but that no is great. And having follow-up power and knowing it's a no and moving on to the next person has helped us streamline our process. And like I said, now we're going to sell and eclipse 8 million this year. And that's with 3 full-time sales guys. And so we're really pushing it. We will need a 4th at some point, and we're going to keep going. As we grow, I actually really equate to a large majority of our growth in this company to follow-up. It's really helped give us the tools to just go straight ahead like a rocket, go after sales, good, bad, or indifferent, become a master at our craft, and help us be a true sales company that does roofing. And I think that's really was the key. Once we changed that mindset with this program, and I actually went and watched them, I took a visit down to Fort Lauderdale and actually watched it being implemented. That changed my whole dynamic. And I took a lot of that stuff I learned from there down to here, up to here. And it is a part of our culture, our sales guys. It is every day talked about. And like I said, I can equate a large part of our success so far in the last couple of years absolutely to the structure and the dynamic of what follow-up brings to the table every day.
That's awesome. Can you talk about how that might have impacted your margins, when you have a lot of leads in the pipeline and, choosing the jobs that you get to actually install and service? Sure.
So a lot of the stuff that I get to see on the back end as I manage it is I get to see closing ratios. And what I live by is, what I love to look at is the closing ratio right on the homepage pie chart. I like to see where the money's at versus the amount of bids we put out, closing ratio for each guy. And just recently, maybe 2 months ago, I knew we would be getting into this time of year. And this time of year in Northern Ohio, we can a lot of times name our price. And if we can get to it, we have it. That's just kind of how it goes. They just need it done before winter happens. So I was watching a sales guy sell jobs he was getting maybe 60 to 70% of all his full re-roofs, but he was closing in those, but the dollar amount was really low. We weren't closing out a high percentage of the dollar like that. So he was selling really low. So I was able to forecast and say, hey, in the next 2 weeks, I want you to, not gouge a customer because that's not what we do, but I need you to raise your price by 10%. And he fought me. He's like, no, how, I got to close job. And I was like, look, just give me 30 days. You're going to sell the same amount. You were very skilled. Follow the process. You're going to sell almost the same amount, maybe a little bit less, but you're going to see a lot less headache because he was running around crazy, selling everything. When you sell 7 out of 10 roofs, how much paperwork that goes into. And if he goes to 4 a day, 5 a day sometimes, just think of how much work he had to do on the back end. Well, in September, he ended up closing about 42%, but his margins went up immensely. So his profit from a regular job of 27 he was hoping to get was now 35, and he was making it. We actually made more money in that month producing his work than we had in the first 3 months, through 3 months divided, looking at that as well. And he had that light bulb, oh my gosh, the process still works. If I stay and do this, I just give him a price of what it is. I'm, selling the company, selling everything else, but he just followed the process, and the people followed right along into there. And his profit now is probably jumped about 7% in the last 2 months. And that margin has helped immensely. Across the board, we're going to have our most financially, stellar year we've had ever. The numbers are already there, and I'm still pushing for, the end of the year. But if we ended it right now, we still had shattered everything we've ever done in the past. Profit-wise, margin, scope, the amount of work we've done, volume-wise, everything. It's just, and again, without sales, you don't have any of that.
Right. That's awesome. I didn't know all that. Well, keep it up. That's really great.